Cole Williams, Cambridge City, Indiana. It's a 1964 DCO 405.
AKA Emeryville,
AKA
right?
Emeryville.
Is that just because that's where they were made? Or
No, this truck was made in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay, then why are they called Emeryvilles?
Well, they did make some in Emeryville, California. It's got a 250 Cummins with the original backdrop manifold. It now has a 14-613 Fuller transmission in it. 240-inch wheelbase on Freightliner air ride.
Was it that long when you got it?
Actually, it was 10 inches longer when I got it. I took a bed off of it, actually shortened it up when I changed suspension.
How long have you had the truck?
Oh, a little over 20 years.
And you've done quite a lot of other little updates to it.
Oh, yeah, lots.
Probably
More than I can mention.
Most notably air conditioning.
Yes, the best upgrade.
You weren't going to do it, right?
No, originally I wasn't going to because I didn't drive it that much, but my wife had a hand in that.
For the people who are watching and maybe considering doing something like that themselves, did you have to really hype yourself up to start cutting a hole in the roof of your truck?
No, not really. I actually bought the air conditioning unit from Thermo King, and it came with a pattern that you actually centered up and taped on the truck and drew lines. And
so as long as you can color in the lines and trace things.
As long as you pay attention.
What are some other updates that you've done that you really are happy you did?
Oh, nothing in particular other than my transmission, and done a little interior stuff, not a lot.
What's the farthest you've driven it?
York, Pennsylvania, maybe. We try to go to truck shows within 500 miles. We actually took a side trip on the way. We went down through southern Ohio, went over to West Virginia and Maryland, and ended up in York. Went to some of our friends along the way, and we all went together.
Were you looking for one of these?
Yes, I lived on US 40 when I was a kid, and there was a million of them on the road, and I always liked them, and a relative of mine had one. I was around it a lot, and in fact, he ended up owning this one just before me. Kind of a story to how he got it and how I got it. There's two versions, his and mine. Well, mine's the true one, don't believe him.
Okay.
Salvage Yard bought it at an auction in Muncie, Indiana in the 1990s.
Wait a second. It has 100 and some thousand miles on it, right? Why was it at a salvage yard?
Well, it was owned by a construction company in Muncie, Indiana. It spent a lot of time setting. And then the salvage yard bought it, and he ended up buying it from them. I tried to buy it the day he brought it home. I told him I didn't know what he paid for it, but I would give him $500 profit right now, and he wouldn't take it. So he kept it for 9 years, and he put the flatbed on it. Originally, they were going to put a box on it for their business. And at that time, business was real good, so they ended up buying a new truck instead. So that got parked, and it sat for 9 more years till I bought it. And he tells everybody I beat him down and finally got it away from him. That's his version of the story.
Well, it was just sitting there.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, you got a truck that had low mileage, and it was the truck you wanted.
I put it in storage for another 5 years. Finally decided to start working on it when I got my shop done. And
were you a trucker?
Yes, I was back in the late 70s, the 80s, and early 90s. And then I worked for a concrete company for 19 years and drove a concrete truck. So,
what was the first truck you ever drove for work?
Was actually one of those international, we called them tennis shoes. Most people call them Donald Ducks, the conventional Emeryvilles. Was one of the first ones I ever drove.
What was your favorite truck you ever drove?
Oh, I had some Cabover Kenworths, and I liked those awful well. They were good trucks.
But just because this one's within earshot, we'll say this is your favorite truck.
Yeah, it has been for 20 years now. So.